Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And I can't tell you how excited I am to talk to our guest. I mean, one of my favorite actors. I mean, Police Academy, Three Men and a Baby. I mean, on and on. Short Circuit. I mean, come on.
Everything and
Yeah,
anything. Steve Guttenberg's joining us, and he's going to talk about his newest book, Time to Thank Caregiving for My Hero. Steve, thanks for stopping by. And it's got to feel good when a book's out, right?
yeah, it's fantastic. It's on Amazon and selling really well. And I always say, anybody who wants to buy Time to Thank, please leave a review because it helps everybody else.
All
No,
right.
that's so true. Steve, why did you write this book?
I actually wrote it because my dad was going through dialysis, and he was ill. He had kidney failure for about 4 years, and I chose to help my family take care of him. But it wasn't a choice. It was just an instinct. That's what I'm going to do. And I met a friend of mine, a guy named Jake Steinfeld, in the grocery store. And he said he hadn't seen me in a long time. And he said, where you been? And I told him, taking care of my dad. And he said, I think that's a book. And so I started writing it, sitting next to my dad, and it went really well.
You know, Steve, I lost my father 5 years ago, and it was such a tough thing because he was my best friend. And I remember all the things of how he is such a mentor to me in so many ways. So I'm kudos to writing about your father like this and telling all the
Yeah.
stories about you too in that book, you know?
What's your dad's name?
Oh, Jim Haley.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim Haley. So we got to say hi to Jim Haley.
Yeah.
And when you say their name, they come around. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Jim's around right now.
I'm
oh,
going to
He's right
say hi to
around.
Michael Hanna. He died when I was just about 12
oh,
and
wow.
he was only
Oh,
39. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Michael. So
Michael.
Michael's in the grotto,
That's right.
and
Is in the grotto.
Michael's in the grotto sitting there, and Jim is sitting right next to you,
Yeah.
and and that's we all connect with that, especially if you've got a great relationship with your family and your dad's. And did you were you taking care of Jim?
Oh yeah. Oh, no, I didn't know. My mom did. I did some. It was like he's a lot older than me, so he passed away 5 years ago, like 94. My mom
Oh wow.
is younger. Yeah, so I'm 51, by the way. But my father was almost just still going till he finally in the bed, and then basically 3 weeks later, gone. So it was not like he really went through that process like your father had to go through, but it was
Yeah.
still so hard. And I'm not even over it still 5 years later. You know, in
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
it's just like you just miss him and say, I wanted to tell you, Dad, about this. And I know some of the characteristics that you bring to the table now, Dad, because of how I've grown. And I want to tell you about that to see who I am now today than I was 5 years ago, you know?
Ugh.
Yeah. But he is watching you, and Michael is watching you too.
I
Yeah.
love,
Thank you.
I
I
love
know
that.
it's true. I
Yeah.
know it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, and in my book, Time to Thank, I talk about my dad would leave me signs, um, little white feathers. Do you guys see any signs from your dads?
I've had feathers, birds. I've physically been touched when I was 23. I feel he saved my life. I was on a truck working with a guy who had built a I-beam on a for hauling trees through a pulley system. And I was on the truck and he was using the hoist and he was pulling it and the I-beam snapped or the hook snapped and I felt something hit my head and throw me to the ground and the little U joint like went flying through the back windshield like a bullet. It
Oh
would have
my
taken
God.
my head off. And there was
That's
nobody there. That was
that's
amazing.
him.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's him.
I more signs as like a cardinal or certain things, and I just know he's there. That's
Yeah.
more for me.
Yeah. It's a wonderful. It's just great. And as I was sitting here, just now a little white feather flew by.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
Steve,
cool.
in writing the book, were there any new insights or eureka moments that you gained in the process?
Yeah. You know how quickly time goes, and that it really is time to thank now. It's time to thank now. say what you want to say to everyone in your life now, because life goes by pretty quickly. So yeah, I think all the time about my dad and how he and I never had anything unsaid. I would tell him I loved him since I was a little boy. I told him how much he meant to me all the time. And life is good that way. Life is good that way. You've got to be, and he would always say to me, and I do this on my Instagram, if anybody can check it out. He would always say, life is supposed to be happy. It's supposed to be happy. You know, you're not supposed to have more miserable days than good. You're supposed to have more happy days than bad. And that's what life's supposed to be.
Yeah, my father was always trying to stay, stay in the present, never forget the past, move on to don't,
Yeah,
and he was really good about that. And he would get happy at certain times. I'm like, Dad, we're going through, a challenge. And he was there. And I remember every time he would be that kind of bearer of getting me back in track when I was struggling. That's one thing I just saw from him, and just ultimately,
right,
and he always cared about my happiness before himself.
right. Mm, what a great guy Jim is. And
Yeah.
that and was and is, because that's what a parent does. They love you so much. They just want you to be happy. Whether you're doing a podcast, whether you're working in construction, whether you're a doctor, or you're a lawyer, doesn't matter. I want you to be happy. Then everything else is good.
Steve, what do you want the readers to learn most about or get most from this book?
I want people to know that life is an amalgamation of moments, really happy moments, just a few bad moments. But for the most part, we're here to enjoy each other's company. It's not a solo trip. It's a trip to do with someone else, with your family, people you love. This story, Time to Thank, is about an extraordinary guy in a regular life who had a son who's a regular guy in an extraordinary life.
Wow. How much did he help you in your development and stuff, and be
Oh my God.
interacting and all that? And
Well, he encouraged me to take theater classes, encouraged me to write, encouraged me to work out and get in the gym. He encouraged me to have fun, study, be serious, get your work done, but also have a good time.
yeah,
He encouraged me to do all that.
wow.
Amazing. Sounds like an amazing man.
And
How
it was.
long has it been since he passed? Has it been a while or?
Uh, it's been a year and 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still pretty fresh. Yep.
Yeah, very fresh. Yeah.
And what I
So,
see from you, Steve, is that this is the greatest honor in the world to write this book for your father. He's just
it
watching,
is.
and it's got, like I said, I'm thinking of writing a book about my dad, who graduated from the Naval Academy #2, and worked with Admiral Rickover. And so
Oh, wow.
he's a brilliant guy. And I want to kind of highlight his life. And he was vice president of Wyoming Mineral Corporation, which was Westinghouse. I didn't get
Wow.
to the levels he is now. I guess I'm a late bloomer getting to a certain level, but it's just that he was just such a brilliant man in so many ways, and how talented he was
The
and
last thing he would
hardworking.
want, I'm sure the last thing he wants is any comparison, because you're your own person, your own beautiful, wonderful person.
Yes.
And, and that's the coolest part of it. We're all these individuals, and we all have our stuff to contribute. The fact that you love your dad so much is everything. And I love positivity, and you guys are very positive.
Yeah.
And on my Instagram account, I started it because I was sitting in the hospital, and I would come outside and just talk to social media and ask, does anybody out there feel how I feel? And thank goodness, people wrote back and connected. And I think that's what's great about Amazon, is that you can connect easily through Amazon. And as I said, I hope that people get to read Time to Thank and leave a review, because that's communication. We need to be a community. We need to not isolate, because the phones and our cars can make us isolate. We need to be a community. We need not to isolate. Very important.
Yeah, social media has really helped with that.
Yeah.
All right. You know, Steve,
Yeah.
and then what do you, so ultimately, also your stories in the book are about your career too, in it, right? Is this almost,
Yeah.
yeah.
We have a lot of fun in the book about how my dad loved Hollywood. He loved Hollywood, and he loved the private jets and the movie stars and the premieres, and he used to love the craft service tables and the limos and just having fun. The studios, loved it.
Well, my time was he would take me to all these basketball games. I was a played Division III college basketball, and I'm a former professional wrestler making my comeback into the ring at 51.
Wow.
So I guess I'll have to definitely be thinking my father. My documentary, I'm doing a documentary with it as well, and it's starting in
Wow.
October. I did some of the filming. Now the wrestling filming will be in October. But when I think about specifically enough how he took his time out to be with me and to take me places, that was very, very important. I wish I could have seen him at work, because that's the greatest thing for you get to see your father at work and be able to work with him. Whenever I have a chance with my kids, I'm always jumping on a call or doing a Zoom or certain things, because I said I want them to see this is what dad does, because a lot of times people don't understand that. So
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
especially in showbiz. Now, what's your moniker for your
I have
wrestling?
different names, but now I'm going to come back as the media giant. But I worked as Big Deal, the Real Deal, Giant Warrior, Leviathan, a bunch of different names. Giant Butch Bronson in Germany. So if you've watched Dark Side of the Ring, a lot of those guys, I know some of those guys I've worked with back in the day in that time period. But we're creating a documentary that's going to show my comeback into the ring and have like a 3-day deal. And who knows if I'll stay in the ring or not? That's to be determined. All right,
Now,
Greg had
are you very tall? Are you a tall guy?
6'10", 290 pounds. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, wow. So you got a great character, and you should keep doing it, man.
Okay.
It's a great career, and I know a lot of guys who wrestle.
I'm
It's a
thinking of
great
doing
career.
movies too. I want to do some background stuff and all that, because they like big guys.
Sure.
So I'm thinking of
Yeah.
doing that as well once I get into the final shape. Goals, because I'm also trying to fund a movie with Chris Mulkey for the Road Warriors, a story about the Road Warriors. He wrote a book on that. I wrote a
Wow.
screenplay on that, Chris Mulkey. So Chris and I connected and stuff. So we'll see.
Is
All right,
is
now,
is
yeah.
yeah? Chris is the Undertaker, or who
No,
is he?
Chris Mulkey's an actor. He's a working actor. You look him up. No,
Oh, okay.
Mulkey, yeah, he basically has been in many, many movies, working actor. I don't know. You probably
Okay.
worked on something with him. Who knows?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, go ahead with your final question. This is going to be really interesting.
All right, great. Steve, thank you so much. I really appreciate meeting you and your time and all of your thoughts and your heart that you
Thanks,
shared
Greg.
with us today and in the book. So tell me, what do you feel, Steve, is the most important thing in life you've ever learned?
That love is the most powerful force on earth. That it could turn a battleship around. That it can stop a war. That love can make anything happen. Love. It's all about love. It just is. And when you have love in your life, you you can scale a mountain. You can do anything. You can do what people say you cannot do. Belief and love.
Yes.
Belief and love.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks, Steve. Best place pick up the book is Amazon, independent bookstores anywhere, right, Steve?
Absolutely. Please do, and check out my Instagram.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
And
Yeah,
when you read it, please leave a review on Amazon.
we will. All right.
Definitely.
That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Guys, take care.